Thank you. My name is Mr. Jake. Today we are going to solve OET reading part B. We are going to solve two questions. If you're new, I have many video recordings. You look for them and watch. Subscribe and share my links. This will help me promote my videos. I am your facilitator. We are going to the quiet room and solve the questions on the whiteboard. Let's start now. Alright, OET reading part B, test 3C. Question number 5. The guideline tries to use terminology that, alright, so it is about terminology. So let's look at what the guideline is trying or doing best to use terminology for. Terminology in this guideline is a difficult issue since the choice of terminology used to distinguish groups of persons can be personal or contentious, especially when the groups represent differences in race, gender, sexual orientation, culture, and other characteristics. Throughout the development of this guideline, the panel endeavored to maintain neutral and non-judgmental terminology whenever possible. Terms such as minority, visible minority, non-visible minority, and language minority are used in some areas. When doing so, the panel refers solely to their proportionate numbers within the larger population and infer no value on the term to imply less important or less power. In some of the recommendations, the term underrepresented groups is used, again, to refer solely to the disproportionate representation of some citizens in the settings in comparison to the traditional majority. Okay, so based on what I've just read, the panel try as much as possible to use terminology that looks neutral and non-judgmental. Therefore, they use words such as minority, visible minority, and non-visible minority just to represent part of a group or percentage of a group, okay? In this regard, it puts no value or they are not specific on the figure. So it doesn't look down or make the group relevant or non-relevant. Alright, so based on what we just read and how we analyzed, the guideline tries to use terminology that A. Represent value-free information about different social groups. B. Distinguishes disadvantaged groups from the traditional majority. C. Clarifies the proportion of each race, gender, and culture. Okay, so when you look at the extract carefully, you can see right from here, throughout the development of this guideline, the panel endeavored to maintain neutral and non-judgmental terminology wherever possible. So they use the terms such as minority, visible minority, and non-visible minority. Okay, so they do so to refer solely to their proportionate numbers. So that means they are talking about their percentage, okay, or part of the group. And this helps not to put a value on the term, okay? So the term looks less important or less power. So they are not specific. That what they mean is that they don't put value, like they don't put a specific figure on the group, like 5 or 6 or 7 people, okay? They only say that minority. And this will help people not to judge them as important or less important as compared to the total group. Therefore, B, which states distinguishes disadvantaged groups from the traditional majority, makes it wrong. It's directly opposite because the panel tries to be non-judgmental, or they try to be neutral, okay? So they don't put any value. Then C clarifies the proportion of each race, gender, and culture. If we look at it carefully, they said it refers solely to their proportionate numbers, okay? And that means they don't clarify. However, they just want to state their percentage or what they call the part of the group. They are not specific with the figure, you understand? So if you say clarifies, it means you are describing the group into details, which is wrong. Therefore, A, which looks like represent value-free information about different social groups, makes it more likely or the most likely, because they said it infers no value on the term. So it means value free, no value. All right. Question number 6. What is the purpose of this extract? Okay, so in the extract we have special needs. Okay, let's look at it carefully. Special needs. Special measures may be needed to ensure everyone in your client base is aware of your consumer feedback policy and is comfortable with raising their concerns. For example, should you provide brochures in a language other than English? Some people are less likely to complain for cultural reasons. For example, some Aboriginal people may be culturally less inclined to complain, particularly to non-Aboriginal people. People with certain conditions such as hepatitis C or a mental illness may have concerns about discrimination that will make them less likely to speak up if they are not satisfied or if something is wrong. Alright, so based on what I've just read, if I pause and think about it, I think it is quite straightforward, okay? So the extract is about special needs and it is making recommendation for special needs, okay? And they've stated examples or situations or scenarios whereby people may complain or not complain. For instance, if your brochures, okay, if your brochures over here is stated in English, there are some people or certain society like the Aboriginal people, they are typically less inclined to complain. So they are culturally less inclined to complain. That means they don't normally complain. So they may not complain as compared to non-Aboriginal people, okay? And also there are some conditions, people with some conditions like hepatitis C or mental illness, for them to, when they feel discrimination, they may not talk about it. They will not come out to speak up, okay? So you need to provide some special needs, okay? That's what they said. Special measures may be needed to ensure everyone in your client base is aware of your consumer feedback policy and is comfortable with raising their concerns. So they are just stating examples or situations whereby people may not express their concerns. All right, so question number 6. What is the purpose of this extract? A. To illustrate situations where patients may find it difficult to give negative feedback. So based on what I've just explained, I will not waste much time. I believe the answer is option A, because the feedback is the concern, okay? Negative feedback is concerns, okay? All right, so they gave 2 examples of just to illustrate situations where patients may find it difficult to give negative feedback, okay? And you don't need to waste time on B, because it states to argue that hospital brochures should be provided in many languages. At this level, I don't think we are going to waste time on this. And C, to provide guidance to people who are victims of discrimination. In fact, this extract is very short and it has no information on that. So that is it. A is the best choice. Alright, thank you so much. This is the end of the class. See you again in another class. Bye bye.